Welcome, guys, to How the Frack We Got Here, a show that takes the news and events of the week and try to make sense out of it all. I'm your host, most Will Buchanan, and on this show, we simply are all about the facts. There are plenty of news stations out there that simply want to do anything short but inform you. Here at How the Frack We Got Here, that's all we believe in. We go up to the left, we go up to the right, we go up to the middle of independence. We go after all sides because there's more than one side of a story to everything, and you need to know it all in order to actually formulate your own opinion. And that's what we try to do here at How the Frack We Got Here. Thanks for listening, and hold on, it's gonna be fun.
Okay, guys, today's date, December 29th, 2021, and this is How the Frack We Got Here. I'm host most Will Buchanan on How the Frack We Got Here. We do take the events of the week and try to make sense of it all. Before I do get started, I'll let you guys know that we are a family-friendly podcast, which we try to be. So we do try to watch our language, as well as there may be some things that may be shown that may be too intense for younger viewers, so viewer discretion is advised. Aside from that, welcome. Well, it is the last How the Frack We Got Here of 2021, as tomorrow will be the 30th, and as we hopefully will say goodbye to a very trying year, the year known as 2021, and hopefully looking forward to 2022 and see if it's getting any better. I would still say consult your magic 8-ball. That also being said, guys, I do want to go ahead and get to the heart of the matter that first and foremost, we have had a lot of recent people who have passed. Senator Harry Reid actually passed away at 82 years old, as he was heading the state of Nevada for quite some time, as well as another favorite of mine, a person I grew up on, especially through football, as well as the popular video game franchise done by Electronic Arts. I'm sad to report that John Madden has also passed away.
John Madden was bigger than the game of football. He had the unrivaled ability to translate the arcane intricacies of X's and O's and turn them into fun.
They had a baby bucket, so this is a baby bucket. I guess that clears up the question as to whether they're married or not.
Al Michaels shared the broadcast booth with Madden for 7 seasons.
It's just super football. I mean, I love these kinds of games.
He loved the game like nobody has ever loved the game of football, and you knew it. And he was excited, and he was excitable, and people were just gravitated to him.
But before he became a broadcasting legend, Madden coached the Oakland Raiders to 10 consecutive winning seasons and a Super Bowl victory. His teams were notable in their day for their off-field freedom and their relentless play.
When they go out in the field, you go after everything in sight.
For the demonstrative Madden, football was a game to be played, to be coached with enthusiasm. When Madden moved to the broadcast booth, he took that same almost manic energy with him.
Boom, we cross him. The left goes to the right goes to the left. This guy crosses here, he crosses here. They have no idea where we are, who we are, where we're coming from, or who we're throwing to.
Audiences loved it.
Now this is what the game of football is all about.
And advertisers, too.
I will say, light beer tastes great.
But hidden beneath those gesticulations was a scholar just a few hours short of a PhD in education. Madden could pique the interest of even the most reluctant fan. Of Madden, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell writes, "Nobody loved football more than Coach. He was football." And the Raiders said this of Madden: his impact on the game, both on and off the field, was immeasurable. Young people know Madden as the name of a wildly successful video game. For the rest of us, he was a wonderful, one-of-a-kind broadcaster who had us with this word.
Oh, that's what I say.
Harry Smith, NBC News.
And he's exactly right. For a lot of us, of course, me in my case, I'm an 80s baby. So, my first installation of Madden was actually him in the broadcast booth on NFL Fox Sunday between him and Pat Summerall, because, that to me was the quintessential broadcasting team. Now, for all those that are watching this that can remember that or remember Madden, I think the first Madden football game was 1993. I want to say 93. I don't think there was an 80, but because we had Tecmo Super Bowl back in 85. But again, I'm showing my geekness right now. That's a whole different podcast. But again, he had an impact on the game of football, and again, he will be missed. not only just for his coaching prowess and his announcing skills, but the impact he had on the game was great. So there's just no ifs, ands, or buts around that. So I guess all consoles and PCs will be at half mast to give that man his flowers. That being said, we're going to switch gears because there is some news from the CDC tonight, and a lot of people who are on the side of the non-vaccinators are making jokes.
Change in policy from the CDC, cutting the recommended quarantine time in half for all Americans infected with COVID-19, from 10 days down to 5, provided they're asymptomatic and wear masks around others for 5 more days. This as testing for the virus reaches a crisis point. By 5 o'clock in the morning, the lines in South Florida were already forming, with the prospect of free COVID testing kits luring thousands.
What are you seeing in store shelves right now?
Oh, empty everywhere. Every pharmacy you go to.
They were all in stock, they're all fine, but I guess they all disappeared in a matter of 3 days. Like, they just weren't there.
At this library in Miami-Dade County, you're looking at 2 different lines right now. This is for free testing kits. This one is for testing on site. Both of them snake around the building in both directions with no end in sight.
It's a Miami microcosm of a national crisis. Chaos in line from New York to Charlotte to Dallas. President Biden pressed today on the inadequate supply.
Seeing how tough it was for some folks to get a test this weekend shows that we have more work to do. We quadrupled the number of pharmacies offering a free test, and there are now more than 20,000 places where you can get tested for free.
That expanded access comes alongside some alarming developments, a 200,000 daily case average with records in Florida, Louisiana, Delaware, and New York. And in New York City, the number of kids hospitalized more than quadrupling from 22 in early December to 109 through last week.
0% of them were fully vaccinated children. Now, they're not seeing any cases of vaccinated children in the hospital right now.
That has pushed New York's governor to make this plea.
Parents, I'm calling on you. This is the time. You have the kids home from school. There's plenty of vaccination opportunities, from your pediatrician to a site set up by the state of New York, our urgent care centers.
New York City also implementing the strictest private sector vaccine mandate in the country, while also adding even more testing, like this site in Times Square.
This is a priority. Like, don't eat the steaks, never mind the chicken. Go get COVID tested or get the vaccine.
Healthcare workers increasingly are trying to address full ICUs with depleted staffs.
I feel like every shift we have text message that goes out that says that we're short and we're looking for a nurse, but a lot of people are burnt out.
The attrition taking a toll across the globe, with Israel now testing out a 4th shot to help strengthen its virus-stricken front line.
And Sam Brock joins us now from outside a testing site in Miami. So, Sam, a lot of developments tonight. Can you explain the science the CDC used in making its decision to cut the recommended quarantine time?
Yeah, Kristen, the CDC says with the profile of Omicron, the majority of transmission right now is happening in the 1 to 2 days before the onset of symptoms, then 2 to 3 days after that, hence the 5-day timeline.
Okay, so I'm not going to lie, when I first sit there and heard that the CDC wants to reduce the quarantine time from 10 days to 5 days, I was like everybody else. I was like, what the, really? But then I, like most people, we go back and we review and we watch it again just to make sure we understand what the CDC is going off of. The CDC is actually going off of evidence of the COVID-19 virus. Keep in mind, they didn't say Delta, Mu, or Omicron as the variants. They said the actual COVID-19 strain. And the fact of the matter is that, number one, if the person is asymptomatic, which means you are showing no symptoms whatsoever, no coughing, no sneezing, no tiredness, no body aches, things of that nature. And also, if you have been wearing a mask for at least 5 days. Therefore, they believe with the evidence they have in front of them that, you can cut it off from 10 to 5 days. Now, again, I have said this multiple times. I am not a healthcare professional. I am not a physician. I am not a scientist in the medical field. I've never published any book, any papers or research regarding virology in the last 30 years, which means that what I'm basically saying here, folks, is that I have no leg to stand on to question those who are educated, those who do have experience in the field, and those who are doing the research. So yeah, I had to go back and listen, because when I first started, that was like a trigger. It's like, wait a second, the CDC is cutting it from 10 to 5. I'm concerned at first, but this is the reason why we go back and we look at what they're saying. We look at the conclusion they come up with, and keep in mind, this always goes back to trusting the science. I always say the best. I trust the science. I trust the evidence. I trust the people who are educated far more than me in certain most fields. That is their specialty, that can come up and sit there and say, we think this is the best route. But you notice they also sat there and said, yes, you should wear a mask. Yes, you should get vaccinated. Yes, you should get the booster if you hadn't already got it. Yes, you should get your kids vaccinated, because vaccinations for kids are happening. And the reason why I keep pointing all this out is because, again, it goes back to the evidence. For all the unvaccinated out there, yes, you can still remain to be unvaccinated. Now, at the same time, does this cause problems? Yes, it does for the rest of us, because the more unvaccinated people we have, the more chances that variants will continue to show. And just like Omicron, which is just a more aggressive variant than Delta and Mu were, then yes, we are still going to run into this problem, because we want to encourage you guys. I still say at some point, and you can comment as you're watching this, but I still sit there and say at one point, it is going to get to a certain point, and I hate to say this, I think it'll get to a certain point where they're going to stop saying you have a choice. And of course, people are going to sit there and say, people who are unvaccinated, well, they're just going to wait till they force us to get us vaccinated. Well, yes, because again, we all need to be vaccinated. There's not no matter how you cut the mustard. And I've talked to people who are unvaccinated, and I let them know all the time. I said, no one's coming down on you on your choice. But will your life be harder for it because you're not vaccinated? Yes, absolutely. And will it make life harder for the rest of us that are? Yes. So your decision does affect others. There's no other way I can say this. Even more so, another story that actually came out that it got very little fanfare, and I just want to point this out very quickly, was that the Delta CEO, even though this story is 8 days old, this was a report that came out. The Delta CEO had asked the CDC to cut quarantine time for breakthrough COVID cases. The CEO of Delta sat there and said, along with the chief health officer and a medical advisor, asked a letter to CDC's director that the agency's recommended quarantine period for anyone who tests positive with a breakthrough COVID-19 infection be reduced from 5 days to the current 10. And again, it's like, why are, of all things, and I hate to say this, but why are we considering a CEO standpoint? Because let's be honest, has COVID affected businesses? Yes, obviously. It has affected everything. Businesses, industrial, supply chains, you name it. But just in the case of the flow of business, it's amazing to me how we are still moving forward as if we're fine, because we're not. You saw in the previous story that was just naming off Florida, New York, and Delaware. Two of those were the biggest populations in the U.S. that are encountering these problems. And yet you have a CEO saying, well, I think we need to cut the time from 10 days to 5 days. Which again, I can see some people doing irrelevance and sitting there saying, is the CDC being influenced by corporations? We hope not. But again, like I said before, I trust the science. I trust the evidence. I myself am vaccinated. I myself got the booster shot, and I still feel like, and again, I need to stress this very heavily because this all came from a talk. People believe that the vaccine is to prevent you from getting COVID. Let me explain something, because if people get vaccines and cures apparently mixed up, a vaccine does not prevent you from getting anything. It helps you increase your chances of beating it versus a cure. So again, for all those that think that getting the vaccine prevents you from getting COVID, please stop with the misinformation. It doesn't work that way. It just helps you fight COVID if you do run into it. But hopefully you guys are still wearing your mask. Hopefully you guys are still, doing social distancing. If you're going out, you absolutely have to, because unfortunately, the way things are going, I hate to say it, but I think that if cases do increase, that shutdowns are going to wind up being necessary again. And we're going to do we have to go back to step one, to where everybody was inside, unless you had to work at an essential place. And those who were screaming about they couldn't go to church, well, you may have to be still virtual, because again, this is the only way we can combat the virus. This is the only way that we can that we can turn this pandemic around, because unless the population of America decides tomorrow that, hey, we're going to get vaccinated, this is the steps we're going to have to do. So unfortunately, unless like I said, unless you're going to get tested everywhere you go. But again, for all the unvaccinated, yes, your life is going to get more difficult for you. And I'm sorry, but that's the choice that you made, because every choice comes with consequences. Sorry. That being said, guys, I did want to cover this next story, which again, I still, even in this COVID pandemic area, people are still flying. I myself am not flying. Just because I don't want to run the risk. Flying right now is kind of a big hassle, especially because of the COVID, because of the COVID security parameters that be in place. You still got to take off your shoes, still got to be tested wherever you land. You still got to give yourself time periods of isolation, especially if you're flying overseas, which again, there's already travel restrictions on many areas. But with all that being said, there are still people who act a fool when it comes to planes. For example, this woman, and of course, it had to be from Tennessee, where allegedly this woman out of Tennessee assaulted a Spirit airline, assaulted the crew on the plane, and then tried to go for the cabin door of the plane, yelling, "quote unquote, I'm getting off of this plane." Now, keep in mind, she eventually was restrained, and when she landed, she was arrested by police, in which she turned herself in much later to Metro Davidson County Police because she was convicted of federal charges, which she now can face up to 20 years in prison or face a $250,000 fine. And again, this is just that story alone right there, guys, is just a number of stories where people in these planes are acting a nut. And I don't know how else I could put this. I said it last week. I'll say it again. If you act a fool on these planes, if you disrupt because number one, flight crews and flight stewardesses and crews altogether, including the pilots, including the air marshals, they're already taxed. Not to mention, like currently right now, because of the weather in some areas and because of COVID, flights are being canceled left and right. So anybody working the airline right now, I feel for you, just because this is a very busy time for you. And especially when people get tired, people want to go home or, go wherever they're going. They're tired, they're stressed out, and then they see the flight get canceled. But it still does not give you the justification of acting like a plumb fool. And I still say for the simple fact of the matter that if you do act a fool on an airline, you should be blacklisted and put on the no-fly list. That should be the lesson on there, because no matter what, we all get frustrated at airlines, but it doesn't mean you got to take it out on the poor individual they put in front of you that's customer facing. That just isn't cool. So again, that's one of those things where she may, wind up paying the fine. She may get put on a no-fly list, but if it was up to me, she wouldn't. Those type of people don't deserve to fly. Just my opinion. But another story, which again I found crazy, but then again, this is the kind of stuff I worry about, because again, with Kyle Rittenhouse getting off, I wonder, though a lot of people, if I could get this sentence out, that'd be great. It makes me wonder, do a lot of people really do consider the danger of the homegrown terrorists, especially with kids who remind me of Kyle Rittenhouse, especially these two kids and what they did to a teacher. By the way, it is very graphic.
Tonight, a twisted tragedy in Iowa, where two teens are accused of killing their Spanish teacher and communicating about it on social media.
She carried herself like, almost like a queen, except very humble. And I just don't know why anybody would want to hurt her.
Her name was Noema Graber, now dead at 66 years old. Police say her body was found Wednesday at this park in Fairfield, Iowa, where she was known to take afternoon walks. According to the criminal complaint filed with the Jefferson County Police Department, Graber was covered by a tarp, wheelbarrow, and railroad ties, and appeared to have suffered inflicted trauma to the head. The suspects, two 16-year-old students at Fairfield High School, where Graber taught. Investigators say they found incriminating social media communications between them, detailing the motive, the planning and execution, and even deliberate attempts to conceal the crime. Both have been charged with homicide in the first degree and conspiracy to commit homicide in the first degree. According to a statement from the city, they will be tried as adults. We reached out to their legal representation. One declined to comment, and the other said in part, quote, "I cannot speak to this particular case, but most cases follow a path of investigation and discovery before reaching clarity, adding that the family of their client conveys sympathy to the family of Nohema Graber. In a statement, the Fairfield Community School District Superintendent said that, quote, in her 9 years with Fairfield High School, Mrs. Graber touched the lives of many students, parents, and staff. As a community, we will remain united in this time of tragedy. That community has posted their condolences and favorite memories of Graber on social media. Her daughter writing on Facebook, quote, I am filled with so much gratitude to have had such a strong and beautiful woman as my mother.
Issa joins us now. Issa, this is a horrific story, but let's talk a little more about what we're hearing from the victim's family. We heard that message from her daughter there. Her son is also speaking out.
That's right, Allison. Her son shared some really powerful words on Facebook, specifically about the students who allegedly killed his mom. I want to read this for you. He wrote, I forgive them and feel sorry that they had that anger in their hearts. There's no point in being angry at them. We should hope that they can find peace in their lives. My mother was an angel of a woman and was one of the kindest souls. I also want to mention that the school district canceled classes for all students today. They did leave the high school open for students who wanted to go in for counseling during this difficult time, Allison.
So again, I got to point this out. So the story, 2 students allegedly plotted, planned, and more than likely executed a teacher. And of course, because they're minors, they couldn't really show their faces, but you saw the skin tones. And again, it's where are we finally going to realize the most dangerous person in America is a Caucasian male, whether it be a man or a boy? Because you saw right now, 2 16-year-olds are, about to be tried as adults for homicide. Because again, it's like, the way it was described, and it's like when you have evidence of them allegedly saying, this is how we're going to do it. I mean, what more can be said? I said, that son's better than me. I forgive them, because if it was me, I wouldn't. I'm sorry. That's a strong individual in my opinion. But again, this goes back to what I said. When are we going to finally have some accountability on that side? Because, if they were black, completely different story, but we will follow that as it develops. But I do got a couple of Trump things. Like I said before, guys, as 2022, and of course, this is the last How the Frack We Got Here of 2021, as the weekend review will actually be on New Year's Day. But again, I stress this out very heavily, that the midterms are coming up. Sure, they're not going to mention it now, but trust me, from January up until the middle of the year, midterms will be, the word midterms will be used, the word midterm will be used quite a lot. Why? Because again, the Democrats and Republicans will be trying to do one thing. The Democrats will be trying to hopefully hold on to their small majority in the Senate as well as the House, and the Republicans only have one job and one job alone: to disrupt the actual simple majority the Democrats have. I have been saying this since last year. I've been saying this since the middle of this year. I almost want to say last year, but it's not 2022 yet. But I have been saying this since the middle of this year. The Republicans are simply in wait. And I cannot stress this enough, because from the Democratic side, you guys don't have enough wins in that column to secure your overall majority going to next year, especially among minorities. Considering that minorities pretty much gave you the special election in Georgia and other places, and you really haven't done a lot for them in the voting rights area. You haven't done a lot for the people as far as increasing the minimum wage. You have not done a lot for the people as far as getting the Build Back Better plan passed. But you did manage to pass the infrastructure plan, which again does help roads and bridges, things of that nature. But when it comes to helping the American people, that two Democratic senators, Sinema and Manchin, are holding up the train. But in the public eye, you're all held accountable. And Republicans, if you don't think for 1 second Republicans will not sit there and jump on that, and throughout the beginning of this upcoming year, stress heavily that Democrats did nothing for you, and you don't think people have amnesia and go, that's right, the Democrats didn't do anything. And also the Republicans didn't do it when they had 4 years. So Well, not for you unless you're unless you're rich or a corporation, then it was a very good 4 years for you under Trump. But people are going to have that short amnesia term. So why am I bringing up Trump? I'm bringing up Trump because, again, Trump is like that rash that doesn't go away. Even more so that he is now endorsing Alaska Governor Gun Levy for re-election. But he has a caveat. And what is that caveat? As long as he does not back Senator Morawski in 2022. So again, I was like, can you imagine that a former disgraced president is sitting there saying, yeah, I will endorse you as long as you don't back the current senator in 2022. Now, you're probably asking yourself, why? Well, because the Republican senator, Murkowski, voted to impeach Trump. You guys got to remember what I said. You guys remember what I said. Say what you want about Republicans, but they have a pack mentality. And what I mean by pack mentality is you either are with them or you're against them. And you don't believe me? Ask Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney voted to impeach Trump. And where is she now? Out of the Republican leadership, and even our home state of Wyoming tried to get her removed from the convention. And also, in this case, Murkowski, you don't think that she won't be facing backlash because she voted to impeach Trump? Again, these are all people that went against the so-called dictator. When you go against the pack will go against you. And right now, for all those that are Republican, because I'm going to be honest with you guys, it is easy. It is way too easy to be Republican. I even said it myself. If I turn around and I start giving Republican talking points, I'll be on Fox News, but I will be on Fox News talking to douchebag Tucker Carlson by tomorrow. Or having Sean Hannity or Laura Ingraham, the top 3 douches that are currently at Fox. I don't even really call it Fox News because Fox News is not a news station. They've already been called on. They've been called on that in litigation. But with that being said, that just goes to show you how powerful, how influential Trump and his cult are still there. Because again, Republicans already know that the path to 2022, whether it's controlling the Senate or controlling the Senate or controlling the House, one of the two is their main goals. It's a bonus if they get both. And if they get both, you can kiss whatever agenda Biden has out the window. Just saying. But again, with Trump is hoping, he's hoping in 2024. He's trying to make it 3 more years. He's trying to make it 3 more years to run again. And if you don't think, if something doesn't happen, if he doesn't in jail or gets indicted or any of the multiple lawsuits that he's following, that he's facing right now and somehow still managed to push back, if he somehow makes it to 2024, we all should be concerned because it's not a joke anymore because, yes, he does have the ability to win. At the same time, don't think for 1 second Republicans won't back him. They will back the crap out of him. Except at times when he actually does do some smart things. Like, say, tell his people get the vaccine. You guys have seen me say it on podcasts where he sat there and told people in a crowd, get the vaccine, it's good for you. Why? Because he has the vaccine. His wife, the former White House hostage, First Lady, she got the vaccine. So don't think they're not inoculated. But I love the fact when Trump went to the Queen of the Raccoons, Candace Owens, and pretty much said the things that she had to go back and try to explain, like that's not what he meant. And these are times I wish I could keep saying this all the time. I wish I could make this up. If I was, I am the wrong profession. I need to be a writer.
It's a miracle. Former President Trump giving his clearest endorsement yet of the COVID-19 vaccine, saying, quote, if you take the vaccine, you're protected. And that it's the unvaccinated who are ending up in the hospital. Now, the woman who interviewed him, conservative pundit Candace Owens, is trying to explain away the former president's comments.
You oftentimes forget how old Trump is. He comes from a generation. I've seen other people that are older have the exact same perspective. They came from a time before TV, before internet, before being able to conduct their independent research, and everything that they read in a newspaper that was pitched to them, that they believed that was a reality. I believe also that he only reads the mainstream media news. Believe it or not, I do not believe that Trump reads or partakes in any other news sources. I don't believe that Trump is on the internet.
It's kind of hard to follow all of that. I'd like to point out that Owens' show, the one Trump appeared on, is an internet and podcast show for the Daily Wire, which is a right-wing media company. And with that, I want to bring in CNN senior political analyst.
So I just want to stop it there because, again, Candace Owens tries to sit there and say, well, you heard it come straight from the horse's mouth. Hey, if you get a vaccine, you're protected. I don't think Trump keeps up with a lot of things. It's amazing how she tried to mansplain it away. Like, I don't think he follows up with publications. She does. Notice she didn't sit there and say, I don't think he follows up with research. I don't think he follows up with the CDC, the National Health Institute, or the World Health Organization. I don't think he does research on the internet. Yes, because there's one thing Candace Owens is good at, is providing accurate facts. I'm just going to leave that one there. But again, I just found it interesting where, again, it's like Trump actually said something because a broken clock is right twice a day. And he did say, yes, if you get the vaccine, that yes, you're not fully protected, but your chances of living have increased. And it's just funny that the queen of the raccoon community, Candace Owens, is out there trying to sit there and explain to her followers, because that's the thing. When you're trying to be something you're not, and you're trying to pertain to an audience, that's Candace Owens. That's that one guy who looks like a serial killer. I can't think of his name to save my life. Ben Shapiro. There we go. You know, when you have those people out there that have to pander to their community, they're going to come up with crazy stuff to keep them going because it fits into that Republican bubble that they love so much. So I'm not surprised about Candace Owens not letting that slide, because that's her moneymaker. Because, you know, she won't be ever allowed in the Republican Party again. When you're too radical for the Republican Party, that's saying a lot. Just pointing that out there. But move right along, guys. I did want to cover this story as well, because this is the stuff that kind of really bothers me. That, again, President Biden did sign the annual defense bill for the Department of Defense. Now, the problem is the annual defense bill authorizes $770 billion in funding to the Defense Department. Yes, $770 billion with a B. Now, granted, it does increase the pay of the military, and also he also has put in there provisions to make sure that money is not used for funds for transfer or the release of individuals detained at the United States Naval Station, Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, or to certain countries. $770 billion. Now, why is that relevant? Well, number one, that's on top of the $600 billion they've already gotten to the Defense Department earlier this year. So you guys, if you follow my Facebook and Instagram posts a lot, you know I do post that the cancel student debt. And that currently right now, the student debt for the United States is currently at $1.7 trillion. Again, people say we cannot afford it. Well, if we just take the $630 billion that the Defense Department was just given not too long ago, and then we take the $770 billion that was just authorized by President Biden, yeah, I think we can cover the student loan debt. I think we just need to stop cutting our funds to the military. I just want to point that out, because every time we sit there and we say, cancel student loan debt, you get the following: oh, we can't afford it. Oh, you never should take out those loans if you can't pay them back, or maybe you just need to pick up more jobs. It gets to a point to where I truly believe that in this capitalistic society, they do depend on people being in debt for other people to get rich. I certainly believe at this point, because banks could sit there, take out humongous loans, play with Wall Street money, run out of money, go straight to the government and say, hey, we need more money. The government gives it to them. People run into debt and say people in debt say we need relief, and governments pull their feet. So again, it's one of those things where I sit there and say it. I found it funny that this is mostly because of banks, because banks will literally keep people a bank will not give the same student a $10,000 business loan, but they will shackle them with a lifetime student debt that can seem unsurmountable to pay, especially in this job market field where, again, the minimum wage has yet to be raised. And for most people with degrees, if you're lucky, you're making close to $50,000 or $60,000 a year, but a lot of people are not. The average median income, especially in Tennessee, is actually below $50,000. It's actually for Tennessee, in my home state, anybody, the percentage of people making at least $70,000 and up is less than 19%. That's for the entire state. So again, goes back to student loan debt. If it was removed, yes, the credit profile of millions of Americans will be raised. The relief of worrying about how not to pay those things will go out the window. At the same time, you can make a whole bunch of Americans homeowners. going for cars, going for homes and lands, things of that nature. At the same time, banks should really be put on the gun for the outrageous APRs they give on student loans. At the same time, the actual stressors of it all. But again, all can be solved if we got the same type of defense. That's what I always tell people. If the student loans kind of got the same type of help that the Department of Defense gets, we wouldn't have student debt. You know what I mean? But you can tell me in the comments if I'm wrong or not, but I still think I got a pretty good point about that. Moving right along, guys. Again, not to cover the CDC, but doctors. I keep on saying healthcare professionals right now, really for like the last 2 years have been going through it. It is very hard to convince it's very hard to convince anybody if they want to be a doctor or a nurse or just an overall healthcare professional in a hospital, especially when you have situations like this.
My name is Jack. I'm an ICU doctor here.
Dr. Jack Lyons spends his days treating COVID-19 patients fighting for their lives inside St. Cloud Hospital in Minnesota. Like so many other doctors, he feels the strain.
What's it been like to work in this atmosphere?
It's exhausting. It is frequently heartbreaking. It is demoralizing at times.
Dr. Lyons says it's also getting hostile as patients are demanding bogus medical treatments.
Are people treating these treatments like they're picking items off of a menu at a restaurant?
Absolutely. Folks act as if they can come into the hospital and request any certain therapy they want, or conversely, decline any therapy that they want, with the idea being that somehow they can pick and choose and direct their therapy, and it doesn't work.
That's putting healthcare workers at risk. Hospitals are facing a slew of lawsuits demanding risky treatments. Across the country, there are reports of growing hostility between medical workers and patients and their families. It's a daily dose of threats and vitriol.
They insult your intelligence, they insult your ability, and most hurtful, they say that by not using these therapies, you are intentionally trying to harm the people that we've given everything to save.
What has been the worst experience you've had?
The most difficult experience we've had is a patient family who, under a pseudonym, had made threats against the hospital. There was a reference to making sure the hospital was locked, and we've got people that are coming for you.
Was it a death threat?
I'm not sure how a person would take, we're going to march on the hospital, we're coming for you, as anything other than a death threat.
The tensions are high.
Barbara Chapman is a nurse practitioner and works at the University of Texas at Tyler. Last summer, she started a hotline offering teachers and healthcare workers mental health support.
I used to think of it as being overwhelmed. Healthcare workers are overwhelmed. That doesn't even address it. The way I address it now with folks when I talk to them is I refer to it as moral injury.
What do you mean by that?
We want to help folks. And now that folks aren't getting vaccinated, they're not believing us, they're questioning our education and our background. It's hurtful. We're exhausted. We're tired. And so we have been morally injured.
Chapman says some nurses have endured so much abuse that even getting them to walk from their cars into work is a challenge.
It's like when a veteran comes back from the war. He may be out of the war, but he hasn't left that war.
I mean, it's crazy to me that you're talking about a healthcare job as if it was walking into a battlefield.
It's a battlefield. It is a battlefield.
Dr. Jack Lyons often thinks of the pandemic's early days when grateful communities banged pots and pans to honor frontline healthcare workers.
The vast majority of patients we take care of now come to our interactions with distrust.
So that feeling of goodwill is gone.
Long since dissipated.
It is so disheartening to see our frontline workers under attack.
So basically, again, how do they sit there and convince people? Because I don't know if you guys have noticed or really pay attention, especially in the education area. Just for the fact of the matter is, there is a nurse shortage. There's also a doctor shortage. The nursing program in most places is accelerated now. Most colleges will even pay for your education to be a nurse. That's how bad they need nurses, and doctors are not too far off. and any healthcare professionals anyway. I'm like, but again, even with all that incentive, it's like, how do you convince people to literally turn around and want to be a part of this when you already see what most folks go through on a daily basis? Because, well, there's a lot of crazy, dumb people out there, especially when it comes to the fact of the matter is like, I want to get vaccinated. And I make this argument every chance I get. You don't want to get vaccinated, but if you're sick, you're still going to a hospital. The same doctor you sit there, the same doctor you won't believe about telling you to get vaccinated will be the same doctor that will treat you if you're sick. So when your life is in danger, that's when you start listening. Cool. But it just never ceases to amaze me when you turn around and you see stuff like this and you wonder, it's like, how do you convince individuals to go into the healthcare field now? Because it's going to be harder. I mean, forget the pay, forget everything else. It's the fact of the matter is this, that when you have to have a hotline for healthcare professionals because they are under such a mental strain, that alone speaks volumes as where we are right now with COVID, with the unvaccinated, and how it's taxing the crap out of our healthcare system. But again, that's like I said, I keep pointing this out until hopefully, like I said, unless all of America gets vaccinated, which we're going to be running into. The last story I got before we get to our feel good news segment, unfortunately, is another sad story. Again, where the use of lethal force by police may have costed a young woman's life as they were trying to track down a suspect.
In a Burlington clothing store, as police opened fire on the man, a bullet struck and killed a 14-year-old girl hiding unseen in a dressing room and being held by her mother. We do want to warn you, some of the video is disturbing. Emily Ikeda has more.
Valentino life matters. A growing outcry for justice.
Never should this 14-year-old little girl ended up as collateral damage.
After a 14-year-old was inadvertently shot and killed by police who were pursuing an assault suspect at a North Hollywood store. Valentina Orellana Peralta died in her mother's arms while dress shopping just 2 days before Christmas.
Camilla, te amo.
Heartbroken parents mourning their loss.
Tenía grandes sueños.
The Los Angeles Police Department releasing body cam and store security video this week, revealing the tense moments before the shooting.
She's breaking things. She's breaking things.
The suspect with a bike and heavy-duty cable lock seen acting strangely inside a Burlington store last week before attacking several women. A frantic evacuation.
Evacuate the building.
911 calls capturing the chaos and conflicting reports of what weapon the man was carrying. One victim brutally beaten, a trail of blood leading police officers to her. As they moved in, repeated calls among the force to slow down. And then 3 shots. An officer striking the suspect, 24-year-old Daniel Elena Lopez. But police say one of the bullets ricocheted off the ground and pierced a wall.
Unbeknownst to the officers, a 14-year-old girl was in the changing room behind a wall.
The tragedy calling police tactics into question.
These officers that went inside the Burlington coat factory were faced with what we call some of the characteristics of a crisis, which are uncertainty. They're making decisions based on confusing, ambiguous, and sometimes even conflicting information.
A multi-agency investigation is underway, and authorities say it will take months. In the meantime, the police officer who fired the fatal shots has been placed on administrative leave.
Oh. That's
Turning
nice.
now to a shooter at large in Texas.
Quite you. So yeah, hey Vaughn, not Biscuit Ben. Biscuit Ben. Oh boy. So long story short about this, about the Burlington Coat Factory shooting. Yeah, it is crazy for the simple fact of the matter. It's just that, yes, because they didn't show the video of the person that actually had a bike chain that actually had the bike lock. Now, anybody doesn't know what a bike lock is, it is a humongous lock in which person was going around and assaulting women with it. But again, it does come up to this point of, was it necessary for law enforcement to roll in and not assess the situation? Because again, the use of lethal force, especially shooting, could have actually been detrimental, even more so that it costed a young girl's life. Now, again, they are going to be following up on this just because that's how crucial it really is, especially for the simple fact of the matter. It's like you have to explain, was lethal force necessary? Because I was trying to find information on this. I didn't see the person in question have a gun. They did not have a knife. They did have a bike lock. And trust me, bike locks are metal. And yes, you can do some serious damage with a bike lock. But when they saw the suspect, it's like, again, you have the numbers, you have non-lethal options. Did you really, above all else, have to shoot? And if you did shoot, how was it that you missed and still somehow one of the bullets that ricocheted killed a young girl? So again, that does come into question about police tactics. And again, that's one of those things that we're going to have to follow up on once more information is given. Although, Vaughn, you kill me about the biscuit bin, so now I can't stop unseeing that. But that being said, guys, we're going to move over to our feel-good segment, because usually on How the Frack We Got Here, we usually cover a lot of things that are doom and gloom. Sometimes will make you lose your faith in humanity. Sometimes just makes you wonder what it's all about. But hey, this is the last episode. This is the last How the Frack We Got Here of 2021. And of course, it is the middle of the week. Tomorrow, Thursday being the 30th. We will leave you guys out on a good note. Some inspiration, some acts of kindness, something that puts some to, make you feel like, you know what, we just might make it. Even though right now the Magic 8 Ball is still saying check back later on 2022. But I just wanted to give out this video of just people helping out people by just doing selfish acts of kindness.
Tonight, America Strong, stories of selflessness this holiday season. Working overtime in their red and white logo of a cross, this year Red Cross volunteers are living out the ideals of the season, answering the call to help those who've lost so much in the tornado outbreak 2 weeks ago.
I don't think there's any better way to spend Christmas than to be helping others. They've lost their homes. They've lost everything they have. We'll just open presents on the 28th.
Leaving their own families to provide some comfort to strangers.
My family was very supportive of my coming out. I think it's the right thing to do.
That sentiment is shared by Melinda Rosario, a mother from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, who's been working in the trenches, assessing damage to more than 1,000 homes in Tennessee.
It doesn't matter if we celebrate on the 25th or the 3rd. Whenever we get to celebrate, we're able to do that. These folks here, some of them are not going to have a house for a very long time.
Hundreds of big-hearted volunteers made the trip, like Deb Budney from New Hampshire.
I can't think of a better gift to give someone than yourself to help out.
Most people think of the Red Cross as providers of meals and places to sleep, but the volunteers actually offer much more.
We're able to talk to them and listen to their story. Someone is validating the experience they went through.
Helping neighbors, even if they are more than 1,000 miles away.
It's exciting to see them still being able to carry on, and they are so happy to have someone here for them.
Giving the present of being present.
And again, guys, I keep saying this all the time. If you have the ability to make somebody's life great, whether it's a minute, day, an hour, or a lifetime, go ahead and do so. The world could use more random acts of kindness, especially with the tornado victims that happened 2 weeks ago. And the fact of the matter is, guys, I still truly believe, and yes, this is going to be sappy as all get out. I do not care. But if you do good in the world, call it karma, call it whatever you want to call it. But if you do put something out in the world, it does come back to you twofold. So always try to do right by people. Even though sometimes I am petty, but not always. But that being said, guys, that's going to do it for this podcast. I do thank you all for watching, for liking, for commenting, for letting people know we're live. I certainly appreciate that. The train is going to keep on rolling. We will be back on this Saturday within New Year, the first day of 2022, and hopefully that'll be better than 2021. But we will be back on Saturday from 10 to noon. Of course, I will be followed up. Of course, the Gibbet podcast, the New Year's Eve special, will still be happening Friday from 8. Might be happening a little bit earlier because I think I'm still supposed to be going to a New Year's Eve party. I'm not really sure. But anyway, that train's still going to be rolling regardless. Friday, depending on time, but we'll let you know when it's live. But some shameless promotions, as I like to do before I get out of here. I'm going to first start with the person who's watching this right now, my buddy Vaughn, Big BZA Dot, who's currently on a vacation, if you will, a holiday, if you will. But you can still catch all his best stuff and things that matter. You can definitely find him, Vaughn Westwood on Facebook, Big BZA Dot on the socials. where eventually he will resume his Smoking Trailer Sundays every Sundays from 6:30 to 9 p.m., in which he gives reviews of movies, of video games, of television shows, because some things he finds funny, some things he finds weird, and because he finds weird and funny stuff, he wants to share it with you. He also has the RAF podcast, like America's Funniest Home Videos, except run by WorldStar, only for the grown and intended, every Tuesday from 6:30 to 9 p.m. So definitely catch that as well. Definitely go back to his Facebook page at Von Westwood on Facebook to watch all of his previous podcasts, and definitely check him out on all socials at BigBZA. Now, aside from that, I do want to point out some podcast brethren of mine. Ari and Geek present Geek Salad. Thank you guys for allowing me to share my podcast on your page. I certainly appreciate that. Some podcasting brethren I actually did meet through Vaughn. So I want to thank Vaughn I thank Vaughn as well for building bridges to other podcast people, because again, we all trying to make it. We all want to be able to eat and be able to do our favorite thing here, which is podcast. But I definitely wanted to thank Vaughn for introducing me to these guys who are also podcasting brethren that do talk a lot of things about pop culture as well as other subjects, as you can see from the multiple videos they have on there. Geek Salad on YouTube. They also have a Facebook page as well called Geek Salad. So definitely check them out. Like, share, and repeat. And Ari Snyder is still a terrible director. Yes, I still said it. That being said, guys, the actual stream that you see at the bottom, that's actually there, that link mix, if you copy and paste that into your browser, will take you to my link tree that has the Facebook and YouTube groups for all of my podcasts. How the Frack We Got Here, Get Bit, and of course, the Alphonse Podcast. Give me guys just like, share, and repeat, because they're actually, all these podcasts are different variations of things I like to do. And hopefully the dream is to kind of make this my permanent job, because I do love doing podcasts. I love talking to you people, and definitely like commenting back with you guys. So again, like, share, let people know about it, spread the word, because I'm trying to make it, but I cannot make it without you, all of you. That also being said, guys, like I said before, we are still moving forward in 2022. Still going to be pushing forward with always giving you the news on everything and anything, and also wanting your opinion and continuing the discussion. Because the one thing that I will do above all else, I do love discussions. We can agree, we can disagree. It is completely fine. But the thing about it is, we must keep that conversation going, because conversations save the nation. That being said, again, guys, vaccinations, I cannot stress this enough. Please get vaccinated. If you're already vaccinated, cool. You might have started. Please go back to wearing a mask. Please be a little bit more vigilant, because there are a lot of people out here with the Omicron variant out there. And if your kids are not vaccinated, please get them vaccinated. It's time we finally start doing the things to get us past this. We are now about to be 2 years into this. Now, the only way that we can beat any of this, guys, is the simple fact of the matter is we must be vaccinated. We must get our booster shots. We must be vigilant. I'm talking unvaccinated. I'm hoping the unvaccinated people get on this train, because I don't want to see you guys wait until you're sick to be in a hospital, because I've said it before and I'll say it again. I have yet to see someone who is unvaccinated get COVID, go into a hospital, somehow survive, and still be singing the same song when they went in. Because I can't tell you, and I've shown on this podcast many times where families have been there and lost loved ones, or loved ones have been on ventilators and sit there and say, get the vaccine. I should have listened. I don't know how many times you can accept the warning until the warning passes you by. But I'm hoping in order for us to actually have a productive 2022 and hopefully 2023, let's all do our part. Your decision is not yours anymore. What you do will affect others. That is beyond obvious at this point. Aside from that, guys, just be kinder to people. I'm on this more positive. Let's be kinder. Let's try to do for folks. Let's simply try to be more than what we are. Because I've said it before and I'll say it again. It takes zero energy to be nice. It takes all of your energy to be a dick. Now, I don't know about you, but I like spending my energy on productive things and not being negative. So again, that is my hope, my wish, is that folks can just, come together and actually come together, especially in this time of Kwanzaa, which I think, let's see, today's the 29th. So is it Umayyah? I think it's Umayyah. I have to look it up. I am terrible with pronouncing the words of the days. I know Umayyah passed. Umayyah's already passed. The word that starts with K is already passed. I think it is Umayyah. I think it is. I have to look it up. But again, I'm terrible with Kwanzaa words. So happy Kwanzaa for all those that are celebrating. But The last thing I'll say about how the fact we got here, it's all about staying informed. We are not trying to change minds. We are not trying to persuade anybody. We are simply doing what the news stations of old try to do. Try to allow you to give you all the information, allow you to make up your own mind for yourself. We do a lot better as a society. We're informed. We're progressive. We move forward. We try to right the wrongs of our past by making decisions now that we should have done back then, but we're trying to do better. Like electing our first Madam Vice President who was black. Still hoping for Michelle Obama and her husband in 2024, because if there's anybody that can save us from Trump, it's Michelle. And nothing makes my heart sing more than saying Madam President Michelle Obama and Supreme Court Justice Barack Obama. Here's to hoping. Thanks for watching, guys. If you're watching this on the playback, please comment if it's live. I still want to know what you guys thought about all the stories that we shared today. And see you guys again on the weekend review of How the Frack We Got Here coming up this Saturday. Take care of yourselves, each other, guys, and we'll get through this. Peace.